I'll get to file select. Oh, we're here already. Okay. Then...
Hello.
Alright, here we go. Hello there. I am Sevadra, a Celeste speedrunner and player of various parts of the game. Today I'm going to be playing the Strawberry Jam Difficulty Sampler, a unofficial work-in-progress category for the Strawberry Jam collaboration mod. It's a gigantic mod pack of many levels with a lot of work and love put into it. It's a very good thing that we will be running through at least a little bit of because I'm going to be playing one level from every sub difficulty in the entire collab. We'll explain more of that as we get into it. Right now I want to introduce my commentators. First, Vapo.
Hi, I'm Vapor. I'm also a speedrunner of this game.
Very well known in the community. And Jimmy Clyde.
Well, shockingly, I also speedrun this game.
No way.
No way, you would never. But yeah, to those who may not be completely familiar with Celeste, gonna run down a small explanation of some mechanics that you will see basically immediately throughout the run. So Madeline can jump, Madeline can dash, Madeline can interrupt her dash on the ground, which gives her speed based on the direction that the dash is and when it's interrupted, and she can also regain her dash on the ground by doing so. So you will see quite a lot of that, and it's also going to be really difficult to explain generally the things that are going on in the map because this is a mod, so there are a lot of things. So we're going to just explain those as we get there, like explain the custom mechanics of each map as we get into them. But yeah, that's pretty much all that I have to cover for preface. I'll explain the actual category in the prologue, but we'll do a countdown to start the timer. And in 3, 2, 1, we're off. So, the Strawberry Jam collab, the Strawberry Jam difficulty sampler. Historically, in collabs like this, maps are usually separated into lobbies, which define their difficulty, and within each difficulty, there are like stoplight ratings to define how difficult each map is within that lobby. So the goal of the difficulty sampler run is to complete a level from every one of those stoplight colors in every lobby. So a red, green, and yellow in all 5, plus a special surprise at the end because Grandmaster is funny.
It's so quirky.
It's so quirky.
I just needed a 4th difficulty level.
But for now, we're gonna chill. Start in beginner, go into Azure Caverns, and this run is very fast and very involved, so I'm gonna let my commentators just kind of take over.
You have a funny skip in this first room. You're supposed to, second room, you're supposed to die off that water. Instead, just buddy hop off of it.
Yeah, if you buffer a jump on the first frame you interact with water, you can jump off it like that. Yeah. This is Azure Caverns, one of the shorter levels in the collab. It mainly focuses on these traffic blocks which move when you dash into them.
Oh my.
We also have another skip in this room, our first demo dash. There's, these spikes are actually just separate entities, and if we crouch dash, we can just go in between them.
And this is the hard tomb already.
Yeah, very short level. Very short and easy stuff to come out of the beginner lobby, as is the name. That will change very quickly over the course of the run, as you will see.
Yeah. This collab has 5 difficulty ratings, going from beginner to grandmaster, and base game stops at like the end of intermediate to the start of the difficulty right above it. So you have 2 difficulty tiers that are just vastly harder than anything in base game.
Okay, I'm trying it one more time.
This is driver, I believe. I believe this is the shortest level for the Taz. Like, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It's mainly based off of these blocks you see in Prologue and the vanilla game, which launch you upwards. And there's some funny skips you can do with those and using Madeline's dash mechanics, like Hypers and Supers. You
Yeah,
can
that-
also see those fields there, which dictate when the blocks move.
So
What?
what's interesting is when Sevadra was talking about how you can interrupt your dash day to gain speed, that will actually stack with the speed that you get from these blocks, so you can really go flying.
Yeah, it's formerly called lift boost as a mechanic in the game. Basically stack lift boost with your momentum, and it does some funny things.
It's again rough end already. This is another quite short level.
The next level we have coming up is actually really interesting.
Should be noted that throughout a lot of this run, a lot of levels are going to be short. They're just going to get increasingly more difficult as time goes on. Because a large factor of the selection of levels is actually how long they are compared to how long they take to get to. Because of the lobby movement actually being a factor here. Anyway, this is Dropsoul.
So this map is based around lining yourself up against walls to fall through these pixel perfect gaps, but for speedrunners we don't really like puzzles. We can abuse pulse buffering to get through these gaps.
Yeah. There's also buffer dash setups like that one, which can get you into the gaps every time. Yeah, this is intended to be a puzzle map, but they left these pixel perfect gaps in as like an option if you don't like puzzles. And a lot of people just did this on their casual playthrough. Throw yourself in a funny pixel perfect gap.
It's actually a really interesting map to watch get developed when Strawberry Jam got launched, because there were so many setups just flying out.
Yeah, I did a lot of labbing for this day one. There's a lot of options you can do in each room.
Ah. This screen might give me some trouble. I hope not, but
One thing you do have to worry about in this room is the gaps are pixel perfect, so you can be affected by subpixels, depending on how you line yourself up with the walls. And this room in particular, that can be pretty annoying. Okay, nice.
cool.
And now we are done with our beginner lobby.
Yeah, so if you had noticed when I had selected the levels, next to the names are the stoplight meters that I had mentioned at the start. Those are the meters that we're using to determine what levels we're playing. And as such, we're only playing 3 levels in beginner lobby, and now we're on to the intermediate lobby. My personal favorite lobby of the entire collab. I have a bit of history with this one. Onto
This is
Sea of Soup.
As I've said, this is Sea of Soup. It's going to center around these bubbles, but also you can complete this map dashless, but you won't get your dashes back in the middle of the room. So it becomes a bit of an interesting routing puzzle, because we have to figure out where our dashes will save the most time, because you have such a limited amount of them.
Yeah, and the big example of that is coming up here, or one of them anyway. Can use a dash to hyper over that and skip that bubble, and you can also just skip that battling orb.
You can actually complete this map fully dashless, and you do get a reward for doing so, which is cool.
Save a dash to the end of the room here in order to keep our dash in the water, because it does refill our dash. And that just makes getting through that water section very quick. Similar for here, if I don't die, then we're going to keep a dash to the end of the room, because the end of the room is surrounded by water, and we'll move faster through the water. We dash through it.
Nice.
And that's the end of the level.
Oh, they're quite short.
Yeah, we are choosing these levels for a reason. They are the shortest ones in the difficulty.
Yeah, big
So next up,
big thing about again, like choosing the levels based on how worth they are to do over how short they are. You'll see that in the next level. We're actually gonna pass a different level that could be more viable, but we will end up skipping it in favor of a different level. But this is Supernautica, level that revolves around the super mechanic, and we are going to just immediately ignore that and not do any supers and also try to skip a room. I'm gonna stop talking so I can actually nail this. Here we go.
Yeah, usually there's a lot of puzzles with throwing jellies into these pipes. The pipes themselves can be a bit finicky, like you see. Like, sometimes it looks like a jelly should go in, it just doesn't.
Also, our first instance of throwables in this run. We'll be seeing them a bit later. You can obviously grab them, you can throw them, but you can also drop them right underneath you if you hold down when you release. I don't think that's too relevant here, but it will become really important later on.
Oh yeah, very important. Now onto the final screen here. I did mention I had some history with intermediate lobbies, so I'll just say it. I speedran the entire intermediate lobby, closer to release of Strawberry Jam, but intermediate lobby is just a very well-made and very fun lobby, so I, with some other speedrunners, worked to lab a good few strats for it. And I have a 1 hour flat time. Want to give a quick shout out to the intermediate world record holder, has a 55-minute time. He was also the only person to ever fully speedrun Grandmaster, which is a very impressive feat. And you'll see a taste of that later. Anyway, so this is what I was talking about. Deep Blue, that level that you just passed over, is a somewhat viable option for this run, but Pointless Machines is way easier, so we just go past it in order to get the Pointless Machines. This level revolves around the like heart code mechanics of like dash sequences. You can see in the top left under the timer, there are dash sequences that I have to fulfill in order to move blocks, or move like touch switch blocks or whatever they're called. And I have to fulfill these in order to actually win the thing. Like I said, this map does become a little bit of a memory test, but when you play it enough, it becomes really easy.
Yeah. Thankfully there's the indicator in the top left too, which helps a lot.
This indicator on the top left is a assist mode, or assist feature type of thing, that the mod makers added in for accessibility. So shoutouts to them.
If If you look at the top of these rooms, the arrows are supposed to be indicating what dash directions you have, but it becomes really hard to memorize them.
This room is interesting. Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
I was gonna say, so this room, your dash code is just a single horizontal dash, but the touch switch will close if you activate it, so you needed to avoid dashing in that direction.
And now we're done with intermediate. Nice.
Yippee. Very cool thing. So you might be thinking, we're 6 levels down out of 15 or 16 levels. It's actually 16, spoiler alert. But the run is nowhere close to halfway done. I will promise you that. But on to advanced lobby.
Best lobby time.
This is Vapo's
Go.
favorite lobby.
Yeah. We are now officially past the point, really, of any of vanilla, I'd say.
Like the difficulty of most
Yeah.
vanilla.
So maps are gonna start getting really difficult.
They're gonna start looking pretty funny and pretty silly at times. Also, there's no rule restriction yet. I don't think there will be, but there's no rule restriction that you have to play the levels in order. But for the marathon, I decided to play levels in an order that made the most sense for, like, cohesion. That said, this is the yellow advance that we're playing first before the green advance, because the green advance is further away, and it's just faster to do this level first. But it features these throwable jellies that you can also stand on, so we get to do some cool speed tech off of these. And I personally really enjoy throwables as a whole, so the idea for this level is just really neat.
So seeing the neutral drops I mentioned earlier being used now, you can drop the jelly right above you to be able to dash into it to get a little bit extra height.
Okay.
Interesting ending.
Didn't mean that one, but it works.
We're out.
And we're out. We're now on to the green advanced, as I mentioned. Faster to play that level first because it's closer to spawn, but now we will play Lethal Laser Laboratory. Pretty short and sweet one. It's all about these lasers that are, you guessed it, very lethal.
No way.
Wow!
You deserve that one.
Okay, yeah, I did.
That's definitely Sevadra's intended strat in that room.
There's some pretty tough cycles here. It's nice.
Ah!
That was gonna be a really good cycle skip for that room if I had landed that. Now I just wait.
I think casually this was the shortest level in the collab for me because there's 5 rooms and they're pretty easy to read if you know the tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to do the B hop. It's fine. It should be mentioned, because I did practice the death cycle. I was going to say I practiced the death cycle for this. Cycles in general in this game are different on entry versus when you respawn in a room. So when you hear entry cycle or death cycle, that is what we are referring to. Not too many in this run specifically, but they do exist.
Yeah. When Madeline dies, she has a little respawn animation, and during that time, cycles will still advance, but you can't move. We're onto the red advanced map, thinking with portals.
Yeah, thinking with portals, it is sadly not a true portal reference, but the name is still cool. Also, I have world record in this level, so I will try to put on a good show for this. I say as I immediately fail the beginning. It's so dooms. It's actually so dooms.
Yeah, they still have a lot more of a throwable attack you saw in Supernautica with these boxes. Oh, interesting sequence of events here. Okay, works out.
More coming in.
Yeah, so it involves these portals. They are color-coded to teleport you. When you enter one of the same color, will teleport you out the other one with similar momentum and, depending on their direction, reverse speed.
Hey,
It also
this
these
room is
boxes
really,
that we're going
think
to
this
skip.
room is a really funny skip.
Yeah, so for some reason you can transition into that if you fast fall. So that room is just completely irrelevant now.
Yeah, I think that hazards don't load for performance reasons when they're off screen, so if we can skip a camera trigger, they just stop existing for all intents and purposes.
And this last room, you're intended to take a box the whole way, but at the end, you could just do a little funny to ignore taking it.
Yeah, so we're going to skip the box in this room as well.
Oh yeah, we're not using them much, but there are these little box indicators to show when you should be throwing it, which is cool.
You're supposed to hit that button for box, but you can actually just hit it.
Yeah. I think that's pixel perfect. Maybe.
You
It's
can
pixel
corner correct.
perfect, and you have to corner correct off the button to not die. But yeah, that's advanced. Three very quick ones, but you can definitely see that things are ramping up a little bit. Now we're on to expert. Oh boy, expert.
This is the real best lobby.
Jimmy Clyde has some history with this one. You want to shill yourself?
It's hard to show myself when I don't have my PV submitted. But yeah, this is Mosaic Garden. We're going to be seeing these heaven blocks, and these dash crystals that are, they basically will instantly respawn, so we can just keep dashes off of them. I would like to
Fun.
shout out to Sevadra. Oh,
Off you go.
I would like to shout out to Sevadra because I think there's been like 2 or 3 people who flapped out this level before he got here, and he managed to find like 3 new strats.
Yeah, I went a little hard with the paint for this run. And I will try to land some of the strats that I found. One such being in this room. That's not intended, by the way, if that's not obvious, but you can basically get a spike jump off of the Kevin as it's moving because of the way spikes interact with Madeline, and she will not die. And so you can just get up to the other coins immediately and skip the upper gameplay. However, I seem to be very bad at doing so right now.
Tough strat. But yeah. Spikes will only kill you if you are not moving in the direction they're facing, and since we were jumping, we were moving upwards, which the spikes are faced upwards, so we can just jump off the ground. Spikes won't kill us. Very funny.
And then there's this room.
Oh no.
So you're supposed to go all the way around that bottom section and all the way up this spot, this like top section here. I'm going to try to not do all of that. I'm in a speed run. I don't have time to. Oh, I'm going too far. That's what I'm doing. Okay.
It's another really tough skip.
Even casually, this room is really hard. Like, we're trying to beat this level deathless. I had a lot of attempts which died here.
This room is a really big step up in difficulty.
Nice.
Ah!
Oh.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah, so another part of this level is these instant crumble blocks, which disappear immediately as you activate them. No!
Oh.
Ah, okay. But yeah, they disappear immediately as you activate them, so you have to actually buffer off of it in order to get the extension here.
In case it isn't clear, there are spikes right above that dash crystal, so you have a really small space to be able to jump to keep your height.
This demo window is also very unintuitive because of the separation of the spinners and just the general decoration. To the point where I'm probably just going to pause the demo again. You've got to be kidding me.
The classic analog moment.
Hey, that is kind of... You're right, you're an analog player, right, Vapo?
It's called only analog players.
here.
I, missed. Okay.
Huh?
I can't save that if I missed the window. Oh, please!
Ah.
There we go.
Nice. Okay.
Okay. That took a little bit more time than I wanted it to, but it's fine. Yeah, that's just a demonstration of how, like, difficult this run can get, and we're not even at the hardest part yet.
Yeah. Anyways, here's a bit of a more chill map. We just played the yellow expert. This is the green one, so it's gonna be a bit easier.
So, Hydro Shock, featuring these square bumpers, which, bumpers are kind of funny in this game, a little bit. The square bumpers basically function as a large extension of, like, a specific angle on the bumpers. So, if you hit it on one side, you will always get launched in the same angle. Just at different heights. Normal bumpers, that is very much not the case. There is a map in this collab that is notably infamous for abusing such properties of bumpers.
Yes. It will not be shown in this run, thankfully.
It will very much not be shown. I would not be doing this run if I had to play Pinball Purgatory in this run. I will not lie. That is not what you do there. Hi. Oh yeah, another property of these that's used in this room is that you can buffer dashes immediately off of these, which is not a property that's used, or not a property of normal bumpers. And into the final room here. Want to quickly give another shout out to just the general, like, plethora of, like, people that have worked on Strawberry Jam. Without them, this would not be possible. As I failed a final room, of course.
Karma, how dare you? Think again before complimenting the team.
Alright, I'm gonna insult the team. Screw Strawberry Jam, this mod is bad! Okay, that works.
This mod had a ton of love and work put into it. If I was to name I could not name every person who worked on this. There's so many people.
Yeah, a lot of people worked on this. The quality definitely shows. But now we're on to probably one of the most controversial levels of the run.
Yeah, if you've ever seen Getting Over It,
One of the most controversial levels of the run and the collab. This is Summit Downside. This is a level where you cannot die, but as Jimmy said, functions as a sort of getting over it type of level, where your objective is to get to the top and don't fall, because if you fall, you will lose a lot of progress. It's worth noting that there are these reverse stream blocks here, which bounce you out of them when you dash into them. There are also these blue-green springs that do not refill your dash when you bounce off of them.
keeping in mind with Getting Over It having really unintuitive controls, this map also disables all of your speed tech and makes your dash shorter, so it becomes really hard to move around.
You actually cannot retry this map. They've removed all ways to die.
Yep. Can't save and quit either.
Also, I know we shout out the SJ team, but like, double shout outs to the OST team.
Oh yeah.
Such a good soundtrack.
Oh yeah, this song is incredible. Despite being Summit Downside, this song is incredible. It really gets you in the feelings, especially up here when it's like ramps up. It's like all that panic kind of starts to mount.
This section is a bit of a checkpoint. It's a bit harder to fall down to the very end from here, but it is still possible. Home stretch. Oh.
We're fine.
Okay.
We're alive. The thing that makes this map pretty tricky is these reverse stream blocks. When you exit them, you are forced to jump out of them, and you have a pretty large window to jump out of them, but if you jump too early, you will often not get enough height to make it to where you want to go.
Okay. Ah!
Yeah, casually it's just this for an entire hour until you gain freedom.
Yeah, and even with practice, it's like I have to be very careful to not fall.
Honestly,
Oh.
one of the riskier routing choices going for
There
this
we go.
expert.
Woo!
My heart's
Alright.
beating. That was very close to the blue spring.
Yeah. Alright. And that's gonna be Expert of the difficulty sampler. And now we're halfway through the run.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so we played 12 levels out of 16, and Grandmaster is the granddaddy of all of them. So, contrary to having 3 maps to complete, this map has a 4th traffic meter called the Cracked difficulty. So, for the difficulty sampler run, you have to complete 4 levels in this difficulty. And the Cracked GM of this lobby for this run has been a bit of a arch nemesis of mine since I started practicing this run 2 weeks ago. So, we will see if I can manage. But for now, get to enjoy some pretty chill green Grandmaster stuff. That said, it is still very hard, and I will still die a lot.
Yeah. We have some lo-fi beats to chain ultras too.
As a note on what Zev was talking about the speed of the levels not always mattering as much as how difficult it is, it's gonna really start to matter here in Grandmaster because our movement becomes a lot more limited, so we can't focus as much on quick movement, and we will focus a lot more on just getting through the maps without dying that much. So easier maps will be much preferable, and the easiest and fastest maps I think align for green and yellow, but our red and Grandmasters will be slightly slower optimally, but easier maps in general.
These blocks only break if you have a certain amount of speed. Yeah, so it's trying to have as much as possible.
Yeah, this is also the point where I am gonna need to focus, so I'm gonna let commentary just kind of like carry.
This map in particular could also be a bit of a memory test. It's kind of hard to tell like what part of the screen is next and what input you should be doing out of a block you're on right now. Because you're going so fast you can't even see it.
I'm getting scammed on this lift boost. So we mentioned lift boost earlier. If you do like tech and stuff, you can retain speed from lift boost in most situations. But not always. And that's basically due to like frame RNG based on how the blocks move and how lift boost is given to Madeline. There we go.
Nice.
Heck.
On it.
It is also, I'm gonna use the time while this is here to, you know, I already shouted out Strawberry Jam. Actually, I already shouted out Strawberry Jam multiple times, the dev team and like people who work on it. But a shout out to the players in general, both speedrunning and modded, who like work their butts off to like do a lot of these things, like, you know, deathless and very fast, because it is just, there's just so much skill involved in doing that, and I couldn't see myself doing quite a lot of it. I say that because there is a thing that I have done coming up soon, and I will talk about that when we get there.
Restart chapter to bring us back to the beginning of the lobby to cut down a bit of the movement here.
And up to this point, the run has been a fairly standard, like, display of, like, Celeste modded maps. This is a almost complete departure of that, as this map uses a very seldom used variant called Super Dash. Tony wants to explain what super dash does.
Yeah. So, when you normally dash in Celeste, you are dashing it in 8 directions, and it's gonna stay that way, but if super dash, you can actually curve it as you're seeing in the middle of your dash. Your dash also happens to be a lot longer, so you're gonna see a bit more fluid gameplay, I suppose. I still believe after this skip, we're gonna be seeing a pretty funny skip.
I continue to misdirect.
Yeah, one little quirk of super dash is you want to like move your direction after you press the dash button to curve your dash, but if you do it too fast, you can redirect and just like go the wrong direction, which really sucks.
Yeah, so we skipped that room with a first frame retry.
Yeah. So when you enter a room, Celeste will set your spawn point to the nearest place, but sometimes that's not the right place, so there will be a trigger to set you to the right place, but we can just skip the trigger if we retry instantly.
Also, we are now inside the brain, and the music has turned up to 11. I'm sure that there are quite a few cat jams going on in chat. But, yeah. This is also the first very, very hard room of the run.
These purple rooms are giant difficulty spike casually.
So hard.
It really sucks.
Also, we also, after the first room skip, we also just skipped the first room in purple state.
Nice.
Nice.
And now this is final.
Final room, aka the curve your dash at the end of the room challenge, because that is where I most commonly die on this room.
Yeah, these are some really awkward curves. Nice, let's go.
Awesome.
Nice.
I
First
curved the
try.
dash at the end of the room challenge. Beautiful. Alright, so I'm gonna level with people here. I'm gonna be absolutely silent for this level. This is my favorite level in the run, in the entire collab. Almost one of them. I want to put on a good show for this.
This is a very interesting map. It's based off these rhythm cassette blocks that you might have seen in vanilla, but usually in vanilla the music's gonna be in 4 common time, but this map doesn't really like common time signatures.
Some very quirky time signatures in this map. This map also revolves a lot around cassette boosts, so basically I think on the first 2 frames the blocks change. If you jump on them you get a pretty big boost.
If you notice, these blocks are kind of popping up visually when they spawn in, and that's not just visual, they actually move up, so you can get a little upwards boost from it. Also a pretty cool strat here. This is the first half of the room.
Ah!
Ah.
Unlucky. Well, we gotta do the first half of the room anyway. Not giving this level the justice that I wanted to, but it's fine. Oh my.
with regards to the length, most of the red maps in this collab are really long. So this happens to be one of the shortest.
Yeah.
I think 74 might be close, but it's also a very finicky map.
74 is technically shorter, optically, but it's very hard to play consistently. I mean, all of these maps are very hard to play well, but 74 is particularly so.
Oh my. Oh my. Ugh, okay. It's going to shambles. So if you see the small timer on the IL timer right now, if I were in my prime with this level, I would be done with the level by now. I have the Shatter Song world record and the, I think, fastest silver clear to my knowledge. I grinded the heck out of this level for quite a while. It is an incredible C-pop there. But those times are long gone, as you may be able to tell.
Like, as a general thing with running collabs like this, there's so many levels you have to learn and be good at once. It's really hard to be peak performance in all of them, especially when they're this hard.
Oh. This wall bounce, I hate this wall bounce a lot, actually. Like, I do the strat at the beginning of the room, or not the beginning, in the previous room that I do to skip that wall bounce specifically, but you can't re-enter that room, so... And I missed a cassette boost, awesome. Okay. So this is a part where I should mention, because we're in the final 2 maps of the run. The organizers have graciously let me have a safety tool, called the speedrun tool, which lets me use save states, if necessary, so that I can keep this run going and continue to show off the cooler high end of this run. Of all the rooms I thought I would get walled in, this was not one of them. But I guess life throws some funny surprises at you. There we go. But I bring this up now because it is possible I will have to use it in maybe one room of this level, and definitely one room of the final level of this run. Like, almost definitely.
They have to make a 4th tier in Grandmaster for a reason. It gets really, really difficult.
There's a cool strat in this room that is not intended. I am supposed to super there, but you basically make the ending of this room a lot safer. And shoutouts to, I believe, Nins, who found this very prominent modded golden player.
Outstanding. They did all of these all the Grandmaster levels, deathless, which is just an absurd feat.
So I didn't really talk about it because I wanted to, like, play well, but Jimmy mentioned earlier that this level has funny time signatures. So you've been seeing those change throughout the level. At first it was 7-8, then it was 10-8, and now it's in 13-8. Also, you can skip that room entirely, although I didn't get the distance at the end with the B-hop.
Tiny bit of area at the top of the wall that you can just barely make it through.
Alright, and now for the first potential safe state room of the run.
This one's a doozy.
Very funny B-hops in this one.
I don't think it's gotten brought up in this map. There are also these little field areas that will prevent you from doing certain actions. So if it's red, you can't dash. If it's yellow, you won't get your climbing stamina back when landing. And if it's blue, you won't get your dash back after you use it. And there can be combinations of these fields.
Ugh. My hands are getting nervous. I think I can feel myself getting a little shaky. I got a lag spike there. Awesome. Oh my, okay. Yeah, there's a couple of really silly inputs near the end of this map. Or near the end of this room. Alright, we're good.
Nice, let's go.
Oh my god!
Listen, okay. I have nothing to say.
It's a really precise RNG manipulation strat.
Definitely, okay? Definitely. Alright.
We're approaching our final run of this, our final map of this run.
Okay. So, you thought that was difficult, but surprise, there's another. Welcome to the Run Killer. I have been practicing this map since I decided I was going to do this run, and I have yet to actually beat this map again, since doing so.
As opposed to the last map, Shatter Song, which is generally really precise of how you move Madeline, this map gets its difficulty by just forcing you to do a ridiculous amount of inputs. Every time Madeline is jumping off of these wooden drum blocks, we are dashing into the block, jumping off of it, and then dashing again within like a quarter second of time, so it becomes really difficult.
Yeah, this map is pretty much try to figure out where Madeline is challenge.
You get a vibe to banger music.
Yeah, the music is great in this map. Unfortunately, this map is very hard. I'm missing a buffer. Yeah, so with these double block boosts, as Jimmy mentioned, we also have these reskin jellyfish, which conserve your speed when you grab them. So both of these in tandem are just used to create some very difficult speed chains. I jumped too early.
One nice thing is for barriers, there's an option to make them really clear, which is like nice for accessibility and safety.
Ugh. Yeah, so mentioned save states a little bit ago. This level has 9 rooms, and on basically any of them, I may need to use a save state in order to finish the room, just because I get walled at like a single input in the room, and then it's just like it just becomes impossible to like actually adjust because my hands are stuck in a certain muscle memory. This room, I hopefully shouldn't have to, but if I spend like another like minute or so in this room, then I'm going to end up using this state. I'm not going high enough on that. There we go. Okay, so I figured out a different strat for this room. Because the intended way sucks for me because of analog.
Really short run, but the inputs are pretty precise.
Basically involves avoiding that double dash crystal so that I can do a instant Piper off of the platform right there, and then get the block boosted ultra. Like so.
Nice.
And then we fly over the level, over the room that we just finished.
Save a bit of time. Nice.
Yeah. Nice.
We are also seeing neutrals dropping return.
Yeah, a lot of the next few rooms will revolve around buffered neutral drops. So just like buffering the inputs to do it as soon as possible.
This mentioned that he plays using an analog stick, and that starts to matter here because the window on like I don't know, like the angle window to get these neutral drops is really precise on a stick, so we have to use specific down in like times that will specifically hold down, and that makes it very hard to coordinate everything together.
Yeah, in order to do these neutral drops, I basically have to use an entirely separate button that's just for pressing down. Because doing these neutral drops on the analog stick themselves is very bad. You might be wondering, why am I not using D-pad? It's uncomfortable. It's more uncomfortable than just doing the thing. I am also holding my fastball button too long there.
Nice. That's probably one of the harder rooms in this map.
I am going to ask for a time check, because even though I have a file timer on, it uses in-game time, so I want to know how much more RTA time I have. The estimate was 110.
RTA times is 56 minutes.
Okay. So I will likely not get to show off other levels before finishing my block here. If I can manage to finish at least these next 2 rooms without states, then that's about as good as it can get. Yeah, since I probably won't get to show them off, talk a little bit more about SJ in general. Vapo and Jimmy, what are your favorite maps from the collab and why?
I feel like it's probably not the best place to say it, but this map right here is probably one of my favorites in the collab. Looks beautiful, the music is amazing, also really satisfying once, well, if you can figure it out. It's really hard, but gameplay's set up in a way where once you get good at it, it definitely is a bit not as horrible as the other Grandmasters.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Like, even though I've been, like, walled by the last room of this map for the past 2 weeks, it's been very fun, like, just getting more fluent at these rooms.
I'm a big fan of Kevin Texpam, also from his lobby in Green. For me, it is the easiest screen on replay, but unfortunately, it's by far the longest one, so it's not really viable for a run like this.
Yeah.
Another big shout out is Expert Outside from the previous lobby, which combines all 29 maps in a really nice way.
So
Very cool.
Shoutouts to Paint for being like one of the most beautifully decorated maps I think I've ever seen. It straight up looks like it could fit in a standalone release.
I missed a neutral drop anyway. Yeah, so, cool thing about this room actually has 2 paths. There's an upper path at the end, and there's a bottom path. The bottom path is for a berry at the end of the room. But the inputs that you have to do for the bottom of the room, or for the bottom path, are easier for me to do than the top path, such that I've never beaten the top path in this room before.
I've only ever done bottom route.
The top path is faster. It is in the current Columbo world record, but the bottom path is just so much easier for someone like me.
I've done a bit of speedrunning up this level, and getting to the point where I switched to top route it honestly became a really big choke. Well, this one already was a really big choke point, but it became even more so.
Yeah, this is also the second last room of the screen of the map, so yeah, it's a pretty volatile level to like kind of get behind. Okay, I'm probably gonna have to use a state here.
The funny thing here at the beginning, the bird's teaching you to do something off these blocks. It calls it jank. It is incredibly right. It's very jank, and we're just skipping it.
Yeah, my jump timing is off there. Give it one more try, then. I missed all of the neutral drops there, holy. Okay, so this is the save state feature that I had mentioned. Now I have a save state set there, so I can just retry at that point.
One thing to note about this map is since it's so input dense, it's very heavily focused on your ability to muscle memorize everything, and that means that when something stops working, it will really stop working, and it just becomes near impossible to spam your way through attempts.
Also, I'm gonna clear that now that I'm past the room so I don't accidentally go back there. And this is the final room.
We might be in here for a bit. This room's really hard, but I guess we can do a few more shoutouts anyways. Shout out to the entire Celeste community. It's an incredible community. Probably the most welcoming group of individuals I've ever seen.
Oh my, I am not doing a down dash there. So my experience with this final room is I am able to consistently get to this part, and then everything in that final sequence just breaks for no reason.
It's like 10 buffer dashes in a row, or like the buffered inputs in general.
So it has been a very hard thing to stay motivated on because I just have not beaten this room in one complete go since practicing this speed run. I'll hope to pull it off in a couple minutes here, but if not, and I run out of time, then I'm just gonna not. It's particularly that down dash. I do that down dash too early a lot, so I just can't. I gotta check on RTA time.
RTA time said 1 minute. Wait, 1 minute. 1 hour, 5 minutes. This is also saying in chat it's 5 to go for estimate.
I can definitely keep this under estimate. If I have to cut it off, I cut it off. Like, as much as it's, like, very much just throw attempts at the room, again, I have the save states for a reason, and that is specifically to keep at least the entirety of the run under estimate. Dang. I'll give that one more try. Okay. Unlucky.
This is the jank tech from the previous room, but in the other direction, which can be really awkward depending on your preferences. I know some people find this one easy and the one in the previous room hard, or vice versa.
Yeah, I don't know why I find that one easier.
This is the input sequence
There's also a cool secret to the left there. You just get stuck in jail for doing your redirect too early. If I can get back under the thing. Oh my.
First fight. Oh, never mind.
Just
No,
come
wait for it.
him in a moment.
No! Missed it at jump timing. There we go.
Nice.
Let's go.
Okay.
And now
Yeah.
will be time as soon as we touch this heart.
Yeah, as soon as we touch this heart, time will end. End time.
Jeez.
GG.
As much as I really wanted to avoid using the states for the last two rooms there, I wanted to show off this run more, so I just kind of had to deal with it on a personal level. I'm like not upset that I was able to work this run down to those two places being the only places that I would have had to use it, which is like really cool in itself, and just kind of a good showcase of all around what Strawberry Jam is. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the run. Thank you for coming on by to chill out and see it and support the marathon. Now we're moving on to Sonic Heroes, I believe. Right, let me pull up the schedule. Surely the schedule's in chat somewhere, right? Surely. I can't find it. Okay, it's over. Sonic Heroes, yeah. Doing a motivation. Yeah. Thank you to my commentators for helping
really
me
hard
out.
on this.
For
Okay.
you can stop streaming now.
Tia.
I've worked really hard on this.
Okay. You can stop streaming now.